This is Oklahoma's own News on 6.
First here at 10 o'clock, all 77 Oklahoma counties are under a state of emergency tonight, designated by the governor's office earlier today, as we prepare for a round of winter weather.
And some Green Country school districts have already canceled classes for tomorrow. We have live team coverage tonight, beginning with Travis in the Weather Center. Trav?
All right, thanks, Terry. Scott, around eastern Oklahoma, things are going to get very interesting very quickly. Here's a look at what's going on, and we're talking about multiple colors. Those colors all have different meanings. Obviously, the lighter colors, as you can see, we've highlighted as freezing rain advisory. We've now added Okfuskee County and Okmulgee County into Wagner County for additional chance of freezing rain late tonight into tomorrow morning. Ice storm warning remains in effect up around Bartlesville, Stillwater, Coffeyville, Independence, Kansas, Taponka City, and further to the north and to the west. Pretty much anywhere along the I-44 corridor is going to be under the gun, so to speak, for late tonight and tomorrow. So with that in mind, here's a look at what's happening now. We're just starting to see precipitation breaking out. It's still holding into the mid-30s around Tulsa, but that's getting ready to drop off some. Plus, we have really dry air. This moisture is going to build further to the north as we work our way on into tonight and after midnight. So far, the precipitation is staying right along I-40 and south, but this is expanding very rapidly, as you can see over the course of the last hour. That's starting to show up in Pittsburgh County. And that's just the beginning of what will be a very interesting scenario playing out. So far, the temperatures in the freezing line is just pushing around Tahlequah to around the Tulsa area and then back down around Stillwater. You can see Oklahoma City and the Tulsa area still hanging very well. And then to the southeast, very warm temperatures in the 40s. To the north, we're all below freezing. So this is a zone with precipitation starting that we'll start to see that event unfold. Now, we will get colder in the Tulsa area as the precipitation starts to fall. So we're very close to it. In fact, just to the east and northeast, Claremore, Pryor, you're already at 31. So the chances of freezing rain are starting to show up. So icing begins here just in a few hours. Conditions are going to be worsening as we get into the early morning hours. We'll talk about the timeline for that. The good news is it's a short event, but it is quite concerning, especially for those of you to the northwest. We're going to detail the latest on the icing conditions coming up in just a little bit.
Okay, we'll see you soon, Travis, then. Thank you.
And of course, we have crews posted all over Green Country tonight, checking out the winter weather preparations.
We begin with Annie Chang just west of Sand Springs tonight. She found out how the Indian Electric Co-op is getting ready for the ice. Annie?
Terry and Scott, we spoke to the Indian Electric Cooperative because they serve the areas west and northwest of Tulsa. Those are the places that may get the bulk of this ice, but they tell us they're ready.
Joey and Brendan got their first wish. Manford canceled school for Friday. Now they're crossing their fingers the storm won't affect power in their neighborhoods.
Yeah, that would be a big deal.
Joey works at a local gas station and says customers are gearing up just in case.
I work at a gas station and there's been people bringing generators and stuff up there and filling up, so I guess people are freaking out about it.
The Indian Electric Cooperative serves more than 18,000 homes and businesses and covers 2,500 square miles, including Manford. Manager David Wilson says the co-op starts putting plans together a full week before potential severe weather.
If it hits us and we're not prepared, then trying to get the materials can be difficult. Whereas right now, when we can preempt it a little bit, order it before, it's much better.
The co-op ordered 3 of these truckloads of extra light poles just for this weekend. It's also in touch with other electric co-op crews all across the state in case it needs extra help. Indian Electric says it's been aggressively trimming trees back for the past 2 decades, switching out old equipment for new and upgrading its technology.
We spend a lot of money every year on maintenance, changing out poles to try to make sure structurally that everything's sound.
Indian Electric has a map online that shows power outages in real time. We have a link to that map on our website, NewsOn6.com. Reporting live just west of Sand Springs, I'm Annie Chang, NewsOn6.
Businesses are seeing a lot of customers stocking up before the winter weather gets here. Richard Womack with Best Electric and Hardware in Midtown Tulsa is expecting business to pick up in the next 24 hours. He mentioned the basics like snow shovels and ice melt, but says there are some necessities that aren't so obvious.
Some things that people don't think about are just little heaters to put in areas that may get cold with walls on the outside wall.
Womack says it's best to make your winter weather purchases before the icy weather gets here.
Well, less than a week ago, these were the conditions they were dealing with in Muskogee, and tonight the bullseye for the morning is generally north of I-44. News on 6 reporter Marty Casper continues our winter weather team coverage from Tulsa and a look at how crews are getting ready. Marty?
Scott, the Tulsa metro area may only get rain, but already temperatures are lower than first forecast, and if that trend continues, then these Tulsa area roads could turn into ice. With winter weather moving in,
it is Oklahoma, it is unpredictable.
Area roads could be most affected.
It is quite an operation for us whenever we get this in the forecast, and we'll be ready to go.
ODOT has 20 trucks and 12,000 tons of salt and sand ready for the coming ice storm.
We're making sure that we are ready to go even before that hits.
While ODOT will be clearing away the highways, the city of Tulsa will help with some of the city's expressway systems and, of course, focus on the main streets. The city says crews are assigned to 35 specific routes covering more than 1,700 miles of roadway. Since the storm is predicted to bring a mixture of rain and ice, area crews are not pre-treating roads with brine.
It doesn't really do much good to put down any sort of pre-treatments because they just wash away.
ODOT will have workers in at midnight to be ready for the storm. The city of Tulsa is asking people to drive extra slow, keep a greater distance between you and the car in front, and be patient with road crews, something being echoed by ODOT.
The trucks are really driving on the treacherous parts of the roadways, so the safest part for you would be actually well behind the trucks, because then you're down on that layer of salt and sand.
And don't forget, if you have to be out, be a defensive driver. Keep a close watch on other cars.
Because once one driver starts to slip, others would start overcorrecting, and that can lead to some troubles out there.
ODOT does have a way that you can check and see the conditions of the highways. You can head to our website, NewsOn6.com, for links, as well as a phone number that you can call 24/7 to get those highway condition updates. Reporting live in Tulsa, Marty Casper, News on 6.
And tonight we can tell you that Stillwater and Bartlesville Public Schools have already canceled classes for tomorrow. So has Manford. And the list keeps growing, so keep checking that list at NewsOn6.com. As soon as your superintendent pulls the trigger, it appears there.
Osage County is preparing for ice or flooding rain, or maybe both. County trucks are equipped with tire chains and loaded with sand tonight. If freezing rain falls, the sand trucks will head out. But if it turns out to be just rain, the county's road crews say they're ready for that too.
If we get a bunch of rain, we'll have to be out putting up high water signs and fixing washouts in the roads and such.
Osage is the state's largest county by area, it's covered by 6 highway maintenance offices. And road crews in Bartlesville are also ready with nearly 1,500 tons of sand and salt in storage. They're on call tonight waiting for any weather to move in. The city's divided into 4 sections, each with its own crews.
And the Oklahoma Department of Public Safety is reducing non-essential staff hours tomorrow for those of you who work in Payne, Noble, Kay, Pawnee, and Osage counties. It covers the hours of 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday. All you essential staff, you get to work your regular hours. And the Sand Springs Police Department reminds residents there to sign up for emergency alerts. You can choose to be notified by phone call, text, or email when there's a situation like severe weather. We have a link to that at NewsOn6.com.
A Tulsa meteorologist came up with a way to measure how severe an ice storm will be. News on 6 reporter Tony Russell spoke with him today about how he gauges the impact of an ice storm on power lines. Tony?
When an ice storm is in the forecast, governments and utilities rely on the Sperry-Pilz Ice Accumulation Index. Pilz is out here at the National Weather Service office in Tulsa, and it's just another tool that these communities and utilities can use for when an ice storm comes through. The severity of tornadoes are rated on the EF, or Enhanced Fujita Scale, 1 through 5. But what about ice storms? There's a rating for that too. This is the Sperry-Pilz Ice Accumulation Index. It was created right here in Tulsa. Steve Pilz is the meteorologist in charge at the National Weather Service office in Tulsa. The ice storm forecast rolled out in 2007 with the help and guidance of power company expert Sid Sperry. The 1 through 5 scale determines how people could be affected by ice storms and power outages.
You know, if we lose power for a few hours, nobody likes that. But if you start getting cold for more than 24 hours, that starts to become more of a serious situation. and you plan accordingly based on what the estimate of the index is.
Piltz says the most affected areas could be in the northwest counties in the Tulsa metro.
Before this, we would just tell the emergency managers, hey, it looks bad, power's going to be out for a while. Now, on the briefing that I gave today, it was like, hey, there could be a few folks in parts of Osage Pawnee County who might not have power for several days. You might want to plan that way.
Piltz says the index takes into account ice accumulation and winds.
But in the red shading, that's where the interruptions could start lasting more than a day. And so even though that's in a lower population area, it's still something we wanted to make sure the emergency managers knew.
And again, right now, the part that's the most affected to the rating, because it goes through a 1 through 5 scale, starts a little windy outside, is a 3. That's in the northwest corner of Pawnee and Osage counties. And basically that would indicate numerous utility interruptions with some damage to main feeder lines and equipment expected, tree limb damage excessive. Outages could possibly last between 1 and 5 days. Again, that's only for the extreme northwest corners of Pawnee and Osage counties. Reporting live tonight in Tulsa, Tony Russell, News on 6.
And we have crews in Bartlesville and Stillwater tonight. Those towns will see any ice before Tulsa does. And 6 in the morning, we'll begin 30 minutes early tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock with all the latest weather, road conditions, and school closings. Tulsa Public Schools tell us they'll decide on cancellation by 5:30 tomorrow morning. You can also keep updated with News on 6 weather and news apps, or just text 6Connect to 79640 to have alerts sent right to your phone.
And of course, Travis is continuing to look at new data on the approaching winter weather.
Coming up in 6 minutes, he'll let us know when rain and freezing rain should roll through.